Could you fathom the unimaginable scenario of losing a beloved family member, attending their funeral, only to witness them awaken and request the lid of their coffin be opened? Astonishing as it may sound, such an extraordinary incident occurred not long ago in the Babahoyo region of Ecuador. This remarkable event defies belief, leaving even the staunchest skeptics awestruck and briefly reigniting faith in miracles. It all started on June 9, 2023, when Bella Montoya, a resilient woman in her 90s, stood in her backyard diligently tending to her beloved plants. Despite the typical health challenges that come with her age, Bella had never faced any severe illnesses or required hospitalization. Little did she know how drastically her fortune and health would change in just a matter of hours. Bella was a proud mother to 5 children and the cherished grandmother of 8 grandchildren, the youngest of whom was a mere 8 months old. They all resided in the same close-knit neighborhood of Babahoyo, forming a sizable yet content family living in modest circumstances. Their happiness stemmed not from material wealth, but from their ability to appreciate life's simple blessings. Together, they operated a family-run grocery stall named Donna Bella at the local market. While it didn't make them affluent by any means, their combined daily earnings sufficed for their needs. After her husband Julian had succumbed to lung cancer years ago, Bella had assumed the role of matriarch within the family. Her wisdom and love earned her the respect and affection of all. Whenever her granddaughter Daniela Bella needed assistance, the entire clan would rally to her side. However, on the morning of this extraordinary event, the family was engrossed in their market duties, unable to come to Daniela's aid as swiftly as they would have wished. As mentioned earlier, Bella Montoya had been in the habit of tending to her garden every morning, finding solace in the task. However, on this particular morning, while she leaned down to water one of her rose bushes, a sudden, searing pain gripped her chest, rendering her immobile. It was a pain unlike any she had ever felt before. With fear coursing through her, Daniela Bella attempted to sit on a nearby chair in the hope of catching her breath and alleviating the agony, but it persisted. The pain intensified, and soon, she felt her entire right side succumb to paralysis. A wave of numbness washed over her body, causing panic to well up. Bella couldn't recall if any of her children were home. She vaguely remembered that they had left early that morning to fetch fresh merchandise at the market, but she held on to hope that one of them might have returned ahead of schedule. "Oh God, I can't feel my arm or my hand. It hurts so much. Gilbert, Hannah, Pedro, is anyone home? Help me, please. I think I'm dying," shouted the woman with all her strength so that someone would hear her and come to her aid. But no one could hear her. The house lay deserted and her condition steadily deteriorated. Agonizing chest pains surged, and despite her efforts to stay conscious and call for help, the pain eventually overwhelmed her, causing her to lose consciousness. Fortunately, her eldest son, Gilbert, arrived home just 15 minutes after her collapse. Rushing to her side, "Mom, can you hear me? What happened? Please answer me." Gilbert's urgent cries accompanied gentle slaps to her cheek in an attempt to rouse her. However, his mother remained unresponsive, showing no reaction to any stimuli. When he checked her pulse, he discerned that her heart still beat, but at an almost imperceptible rate. Overwhelmed by fear at the sight of his mother's condition, and knowing that an ambulance would take precious time to arrive, Gilbert decided to rush her to the nearest hospital himself. He cradled her in his arms, gently placed her in the back seat of his truck, and sped toward the hospital. Time was of the essence. His mother's life hung in the balance, and he was determined to do everything in his power to save her. Gilbert raced to Martini Casa Hospital in Babahoyo, Ecuador, and upon arrival, a pair of nurses swiftly transported his mother on a stretcher for immediate care. While waiting anxiously in the emergency corridor, he contacted his other siblings to apprise them of the dire situation. In the midst of tending to Bella, Gilbert informed the doctors that Montoya had a history of hypertension and heart issues, but had never previously endured such severe pain. "My mother is a very strong woman. She has to take pills for her blood pressure and heart, but like all people her age, I don't know what could have happened to her. Save my mother, please. She's the pillar of our family," he pleaded in tears to the nurses who attended her in the emergency room. Unfortunately, none of them could tell him what he was hoping to hear. "As strong as your mother is, we can't forget she's 93 years old. At that age, any day could be her last. I'm sorry, but we can only wait for the doctor who's treating her to come out and inform us of her condition," said one of the nurses, trying to console him, but not succeeding. Unfortunately, after more than an hour of agonized waiting, the doctors who attended Bella Montoya could only confirm her death and offer their condolences. "Sadly, your mother passed away from a heart attack. At her age and given the length of time she'd been unconscious, the damage caused was too great and it proved impossible to revive her. We're very sorry for your loss, communicated hospital officials to Montoya's family. Thank you for trying, doctor. I know you've done everything possible to save my mom, said Gilbert to the doctors, broken with grief at the news. After completing the hospital paperwork and officially certifying Bella Montoya's death as a heart attack, the family began preparations for her funeral, scheduled for the next day. Little did they anticipate the astonishing turn of events that would unfold. Every one of Bella Montoya's children contributed to cover the modest funeral expenses, ensuring it would take place in a humble village church. Bella, deeply devout, had been a steadfast member of her parish, and her unwavering faith held immense significance in her life. Recognizing her devotion, the family spared no expense, using all of her savings to honor her final wishes. I couldn't care less about the money right now, sister. She's our mother, and she deserves a funeral to match. I know she would be proud, Gilbert told his sister Anna. She and Gilbert were the oldest of 5 siblings and the heads of the household, now that their mother was gone. I agree with you, dear brother. She's the one who matters now. Our mother deserves everything, answered Anna, trying to hold back her tears and hugging her brother tightly. On the morning of the following day, and without having finished assimilating what had happened, Bella Montoya's funeral began. The religious ceremony inside the church was attended only by relatives and close friends of the family. But when they left, carrying the coffin on their shoulders to bury her in the cemetery, they discovered that all the neighbors had wanted to pay their respects to Bella Montoya and say their last goodbyes. She was a great woman. What a great sorrow, said a neighbor as the coffin passed by. The neighborhood will never be the same without the humor and joy of Bella Montoya. God bless her, shouted another excited neighbor, holding back her tears with the black handkerchief. The family thanked the neighborhood for their support and continued on their way to the cemetery in absolute silence. Everything was going according to plan until the impossible happened. Knock, knock. Dry knocks coming from inside the coffin broke this silence. Everyone looked at each other in disbelief. It's coming from inside the coffin. It's Montoya's ghost, said one of the neighbors, pointing to the coffin with a terrified look. Don't talk nonsense. It can't possibly come from there. It must have been our imagination. We're all tired, Gilbert replied, very annoyed, trying to ignore the neighbor's comment. Come on, let's keep walking. It's still a long way to the cemetery. As the crowd resumed their walk, attempting to dismiss the previous incident, an unmistakable sound echoed once more, louder this time. The knocking. There was no room for doubt. The sound emanated from within the coffin, resonating clearly for everyone to hear. Lower it to the ground. Quick, let's open it and unravel this mystery. Gilbert urgently instructed his brothers, determined to ascertain whether their mother was truly alive or if someone played a cruel prank on them. However, it was no jest. It was an authentic miracle. The elderly woman, previously declared deceased just hours ago, had fervently pounded on the wooden confines of the coffin, yearning for someone to hear her cries, and hear them they did. Montoya's family swiftly pried open the casket, taken aback by the sight of the elderly woman, still very much alive. It defied belief that Montoya breathed on, despite the earlier declaration of her demise. The situation was especially bewildering since the hospital had issued a death certificate specifying the cause and time of her passing. No one could fathom what was unfolding. Bella Montoya lives. We must help her out, declared one of her sons upon peering into the coffin and detecting a pulse accompanied by her labored breaths. Fortuitously, a bystander captured the entire sequence on their cell phone during the burial. When they opened the coffin, to everyone's astonishment, they found the elderly woman, Montoya, alive. This viral video swiftly circulated on social media, making Montoya's apparent miracle an international spectacle. The family immediately dialed 911 for help, but was informed that an ambulance was unavailable at the moment. Despite the delayed medical attention, Montoya's family did their utmost to comfort and care for her. Although she appeared disoriented and barely conscious, she displayed no signs of pain and seemed to react upon hearing her children's voices. Approximately half an hour later, Montoya, who had been removed from the coffin and appeared stable, was transported to the hospital for urgent medical assessment. For her family and everyone present at the funeral, witnessing her breathe again after being declared deceased and nearly buried was nothing short of a miracle. Montoya received treatment in the hospital's intensive care unit, while her video rapidly gained online fame, becoming the most viewed clip within hours. The impact of the video was so profound that even local media outlets picked up the extraordinary incident, broadcasting it throughout the country. My mom is on oxygen, her heart is stable, and signs point to her recovery, the doctor reported, giving her hand a gentle pinch, to which she responded as her son informed a local journalist during an interview at the hospital. He concluded, "Now, all I wish for is my mother's continued improvement and to have her alive and with us." In response to Montoya's astounding recovery, the community clamored for an investigation into the hospital's actions. Both the public and the family sought a plausible explanation for her revival after doctors had declared her deceased the day before. Even a month later, the circumstances remain shrouded in mystery, as the hospital refrains from making an official statement. Some medical experts speculate that Montoya may have experienced catalepsy, an uncommon condition characterized by prolonged periods of unresponsiveness that can mimic death. Currently, Bella Montoya has returned home to her family, under vigilant medical care to safeguard against further heart issues. Her family celebrates her return, especially considering the heart-wrenching moment they believed they were about to bury her prematurely, thinking she had departed forever. Her story serves as a poignant reminder of life's brevity, urging us to cherish our loved ones to the fullest, as any day could be our last. Though miraculously, that is not the case for Bella Montoya.